Okay, hello guys. So I was asked the other day if I could explain how to do side-by-side videos in ShareFactory, and I figured doing a quick tutorial would be simpler, plus other people can use it then and try to get something out of ShareFactory. So the question was to put two laps side by side so you can compare the two. Obviously you want to go and get that footage first. So I've just gone and grabbed a couple of hot laps and got them as two separate files. You go into new project. You don't have to pick a theme. Themes are usually they're pretty corny. Sometimes they're interesting to use. Some of the features in it are okay. Many are not. Again, I don't usually use any of these sorts of things at the start. So here are my two laps here. Don't criticise the laps, they were done very hastily in order to do this. Because we're going to do essentially what it is picture in picture when you have them side by side. You only want to pick one first and then you add the second one after. So you pick the first one. You can name it if you wish, obviously. So this is our first lap, okay? Just in the McLaren at Imola. I've clipped the lap earlier, so I've clipped the footage. So I've just pretty much got 50 meters or so before the start-finish line, and then it cycles all the way through to just short of T1, pretty much. It's good to have a bit of wiggle room, just so that you can make sure the clips line up properly, and also allows you to make it a bit more aesthetic, so you don't have to have it cut in and out as soon as the lap starts or finishes. On the subject of aesthetics, again, you don't have to do this. I always like to start my clips with a black screen. So you just, X to bring up this menu, add screenshot, and always at the top you've got the basic ones before you get into the actual screenshots that you've taken in game. So you just pick a solid color. It's always going to be red by default, which is annoying, although it makes it easier to see. This is just going to give you a little bit of a segue into the actual opening. So when you open I'm assuming you'll go to YouTube, it doesn't suddenly pop up with this. It just gives you a little bit of time before it transitions. So the best thing to do here is to turn it black, so square, go down to settings, square, and then you can obviously change your colors to what you want, but black is always going to be down the bottom. You've usually got theme colors or previously used colors down here as well. So if you are using different colors throughout your video, they'll save down here, so it's much easier to get to them. X to confirm you want black, and then X to confirm there. And then the other thing I'll do to get a smooth transition, so pushing X again to bring up this menu, add transition. You've got all these fancy things. Usually I'll use dissolves. A good one to use for this sort of stuff is fade through color. It's a longer transition, and what it'll do, as well as transition the visual, it'll also do a very slight transition with the audio. See if we can get a demo here. You'll see that the audio will pick up before the video transfers through, and it's a nice little touch. You'll hear there, this is a problem with ShareFactory on PS5, little clip-in, noise clip-in. That's been there since the start. It's quite frustrating. And then you can clip the intro, the black bit, to wherever you want to. I usually go trim clip and just drop it down to the shortest, so I'm using the right stick here. You can trim things to whatever size you want. I usually just drop it down to the minimum, and that just gives you a really small opening clip before you start it. Alright, so here we've got our first lap. That's the thing to note with using that fade through color, is that it actually trims your clip down a fair bit. So I've probably not actually given myself much wiggle room there to get the start, as you can see. as once the colour's fully up, I've only got a couple of meters, or 10 meters or so, to make sure I get the actual start finish line there. So what I'm using here is the D-pad to go frame by frame. That's obviously important, especially when you're doing side by sides, that you want to, with laps, you want to get the two laps completely synchronized at the start, understanding that throughout the lap, the laps are going to be slightly different, so they're not going to finish the same, obviously, but to get the best comparison, you want to start it right at the right time. So the first part of it, you don't really need to worry about getting it spot on, because you're going to have to probably edit the second track a little bit to get it right. So I'm just going to pick anywhere here. I'm going to do X to add, go down to add track 2. Okay. Now this is where people get confused, because they think you're going to record video or audio. If you just push X again, the record button, it'll give you the option. So you can record audio, or you can just go across to add clip. If you've got a camera connected, then you can record video. Let's go across to add clip, and then you get to pick what clip you're going to add. So I started with that one. That was my first lap, and this one here is my second lap. So just X, and there it is. Okay, so I've now got the two clips up. Now you can see when I come across to the second clip here, so the second clip is in yellow. On the screen on the left, you can see a little blue box with a yellow outline. That's currently where that second screen is sitting. So that's essentially picture in picture. What we want to do is obviously side by side. So you go into, now bear with me here, this is all off the top of my head, I haven't practiced this. If we go to square, go to PIP layout, which is picture in picture layout, and here you can pick where that second screen goes. So when it's like inset like that, the larger portion of the screen is the original video, I believe, but and then the second video is just a small one. Here you have side by side, so they're both the same size, sitting next to each other. So this is unfortunately the best you can do on ShareFactory, is have them side by side. You can't fill the frame any more than that. That's so you can see there how the size of those videos, and it's a little bit frustrating because they're sort of a fair bit small, and you've got a lot of wasted screen. But it's doing that because it needs to keep the same ratio, so you can't fill it up to be a different ratio. Now the frustrating thing is when you do this, automatically, see how those two squares, how the two boxes come in like that, sliding from the sides, that is stuck. You can't change it, you can't fade them in, you can't just get them to pop up. They always have to come in like that. It's only a minor thing, it's just an aesthetic thing, it frustrates me. Anyway, that's essentially what it's going to look like. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is line up the clips so that we have them both starting at the same time. So I'm going to be looking at the right hand clip here, which again is really frustrating. How this works is, I think the right hand clip, which is the one we've added, is actually coming out on the left hand side, because you can see it's the yellow outline with the blue box. So it's a bit counterintuitive. We're editing on the right hand side for the left hand screen, and again, I'm pretty sure there's no way to change that. So I'm just going to have a look to see where, again, frame by frame, looking on the right hand screen to find where we cross the line. Okay, so there we are there, and it's actually good because it was 0.003, which is exactly where the frame lined up with the first clip. So what I'm going to do now, I might have to trim a little bit. We'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to push square and go up to move clip with X. So now I'm moving the overlaid clip, or the new clip, up to a line with the first clip. So you can see the right hand one isn't moving at all, but the left hand one is. So I'm just tabbing across, and now also something to note here, I can only move it to the left because I can't move it back to the right because the tail of the second clip is too long, so I can't push the clip out further. A little technical point, if you go too far, what you're going to have to do is trim the clip so it's shorter, so that, or you can add just add some black or some black or any color frames at the end of the main clip, so then you can slide it both ways, and those things can be deleted afterwards, which is not a major issue. So I'm just tabbing left until I see the left hand lap come up to the appropriate position. Okay, a couple more. Okay, there we are. So you can see now they are both synced to start at the exact same time. I'm going to push X to apply. So now both of those laps are going to come across and start finish time at the exact same time. That's probably a bit loud. I'm just using the mic on the controller as well, so. Right, so both those laps now are in sync. Okay. Now, quickly talk about audio. Both those tracks are playing their individual audio at 100%. It'd be cool if you could pan left and right. You can't do that. The only thing you can do is go into clip volume, and you can change one of them, or you can change both of them. But if, for example, you only wanted the audio from one of them, then you can, for example, I'll just have to go into this one, drop the volume all the way down. So then it's just the first clip, and vice versa. If I wanted to change the volume on the other one, I'd just drop it on the other one. If you wanted to throughout a video, so for example, you wanted to start with the audio from this clip, so you just have to go circle, go back to this one, go clip volume, so you can drop, this is the first clip, you drop that volume all the way down, so then you've only got the right hand volume. If for some reason you wanted to switch the audio through the lap, so you can, you know, this is the first one that you can hear for any reason, and then you want to switch to the other one, what you're going to have to do is choose where you want it to switch over. So let's say we wanted to swap it at 10 seconds. You would then have to split clip. This shouldn't affect anything. So just split clip, select split clip, and then you can choose it with X. What that does is just allows you to have two parameters for both of these clips now. So circle to go back to your main menu, check the volume. So this is one we're not having, this first section, we've got no volume on that one. And then this one, if we now say, okay, when we get to that section, we then want full volume on this one. Right, so now that one's going to have volume, and if we go now from here, you can go edit, square, edit track 2. Then you can split this clip as well. Go split clip, confirm, and then move it across to this side of the clip. Ah, damn it, I just realized when you split clips, see how it does that box thing again? Ah, so frustrating. Anyway, probably a poor example. You'd come into here and clip volume, then you could turn that volume down. But as we've just seen, as soon as you split the clip it does that stupid fading thing again. And it just, it's so frustrating how it does that. Like that. Anyway, oops, I'm going to have to fix that up. So I'm just going to go back. Another really frustrating thing is that you can't undo. There's no undo button. So yeah, very, very frustrating. And just make sure these clip volumes are right. So what I'm going to have to do, this clip here, this split clip doesn't do anything. That's fine. The split clip we've got to worry about is the one on track 2. So what I'm going to do is just edit track 2. I'm going to delete this side of it. And then what I've got to do is trim this back so that goes, once you've deleted that, you can actually get it back by going into your clip there. You go to trim clip, and it brings up the entire clip which you initially loaded up. And you can, see I can just take it all back. Everything that I deleted, just bring it all back. Now I don't think I deleted this first, so if I put it all in there. Okay, frame by frame until we get to the same spot. Alright, so you can see what's happened here is I can't move back now because the original clip is not long enough to move the top clip. You can't extend it with the second clip. So I'm going to have to apply it there, and this is what I was talking about before. If you get to that point, it's not too bad. All you have to do is come into your original clip, go right to the end. You see that little tail, that little bit there, that purple bit? That's clip 2 hanging over the edge a bit. So all I have to do, and you can delete all this at the end, just add a screenshot, solid color, square to add, and I usually just trim clip, make that pretty long, just so you've got plenty of room. That's absolutely massive amounts to wiggle with, okay? So now if you look at the bottom, you can sort of see where the yellow bar is. Before it had nowhere to move because the clip had finished. Now I've got all this here. That yellow bar can move all the way this way, and the yellow bar is the second track. It's a bit of a shortfall of the program. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to move the yellow bar past the original shot, but that's just a limitation that's in the system. So you just add that and then you fix it up later. So I'll just go back up to the start here, square to edit track 2, and now I'll be able to, again, looking at the right hand screen frame by frame to get the start point. That's point 3 will be the closest we get. Square to edit, move clip, and now looking at the left hand one to align the two. So that one is now 0.021. Unfortunately, just because we've moved it around a bit, we probably won't get 0.003, so that's going to have to do for this one. 7/100ths is probably close enough for a decent comparison. Okay, so this is what it looks like so far. I've just circled out of that, so this is the main editing screen. Does its silly sliding, and that's what we've got at the moment. Again, this split clip here isn't going to affect anything. We've got our audio set up fine. Another thing which is a bit frustrating is you can't freeze frame on this. So if you wanted to stop at a corner to assess braking zones and stuff like that, you can't actually do it properly. You have to go through and watch the video clip just in your captured items, and then screenshot it and then add that screenshot at the exact point that you want to freeze frame. Really backwards way of having to do it, but ShareFactory don't allow you to do things in a simple way for some reason. So look, that's the basics of it. Obviously then once you've gone through your lap, you find your end point where you want to finish. So look, I'll just end it there. So I wanted to go square, split clip, split it there, confirm, and I'll split the second clip there as well. So I've got it at the exact same spot. I'll just go square, edit track 2, square, split clip, X, confirm. Then you just go across to the side, the tail side, and push delete again, and I'll delete that clip, confirm. All this blue stuff here that you see, that's obviously the original clip. So push circle to go back to that, and that's where we did that, and we can go square to delete that. Delete clip, confirm, and then we've got this red bit which I'm going to end up using because this will transition into my end. So what I'll do is square, go across to settings again, color, square, go across to black, X, confirm with X, and then I'll add the same transitioning. If we go add transition, fade through color, and that's it. And then you trim your tail end, trim, and again with the right stick, the quickest way to get it the shortest is just to drop it all the way back. Sometimes you might want that to go just a little bit longer, just because when you're watching on YouTube, it'll suddenly abruptly end. If you just have it go a little bit, it'll give the viewer a little bit of a time to replay or go back or whatever before it moves off the thing. It can be a bit frustrating. So from the start, you see everything syncs up pretty well. Okay, so there's one more thing you can do at this stage, and that is changing your background. Let me just have a look. I think we go into edit, track 2, square to edit, picture-in-picture backdrop. Okay, replace backdrop, so you can add any of these things, solid color, a gradient color, which isn't too bad. You can find a screenshot of yours. You can get your so look, something like this might work. Did it work? Yeah, so I mean that's sort of, you can't really see anything there. It's usually better just to have, you can make a custom background which would go, you could see at the top and bottom, or you could just use a color gradient, or just an image that suits the theme. Again, replace backdrop, so you can search things by game. Actually, I've probably got, let's argument's sake use that. There again, you can't see much there, but you get the idea. You can pick something that doesn't look too bad. Drop and just do a gradient like that. Okay, so that's pretty much all you can do at that stage. What I'll do now is I'll render this, and once it's rendered, again, more limitations on ShareFactory. You've got to do an extra step to put titles on underneath both of these laps. You can add text to each individual. I think you can do it on your track 2 as well. Oops. Edit. So you can't even do it on track 2. You can't add text to your, or overlays onto your second track, because that's just going to do that. Edit. No. You can see that's a massive shortfall. So you can't put text onto your second track through there. What I was going to say is you can, I mean, you could do it before you added it, of course. I was just going to show you how you can just write, for example, oops, you can just write your lap, or what do you want to name that particular thing. So you can see on the right hand side, you know, that's lap 1 or whatever, but the limitation here is it's restricted to that actual screen, right? So you can't move it off onto the background. And also you can't add one, as we've just discovered, to the other side. So what you need to do, let's just cancel that, delete that. What you're going to have to do is make sure you're happy with everything that you've got here. And for argument's sake, I'll say, yep, I'm happy. So you've got to go into options and just go export to gallery. And then when we come back, I'll show you how to do the next part. Okay, once your clip's rendered, obviously you don't want to share it at this stage. We've got one more step to go. Just do share later. Exit out of that, save project and exit. And then what you're going to do is go straight back into new project. Again, don't worry about that. Get rid of that. Open up the side-by-side that you've just rendered. X square to start, continue, and here we go, our fully rendered track. Just have a quick look at it. Yep, it's doing exactly what we wanted it to. Okay, so from there, what I wanted to do was label the tracks, label the laps. Okay, so usually wait until they've fully come across into the picture. Press X to add overlay, choose your text, and again, I'm just gonna, let's call it lap 1. Duration we can sort out in a minute. Transform, move it down underneath here. So you can see now we can move it wherever we want. So we're going to put it down here and change the size of it if you're not familiar with all of your overlays and stuff like that. Now again, remember when you add your individual laps, this one on the left is actually the second track. So I don't know, if you need to have, I don't know, for argument's sake, the faster lap on the left, make sure you start the project with the slower lap, if that makes sense, because that is going to be the one that is on the right, if that makes sense to you. Trial and error is the best. Okay. Okay, so happy with that. Lap 1. Text duration, if you want it to be the whole thing, a little bit. If you want it for the whole, you just push right on the D-pad, it goes right to the end. X to start. Confirm. Actually, text duration, if we go down to the end there, I don't want it sitting where it goes fade to black, so I'll just back it up a bit. Why is it black for so long? I didn't think maybe we did put it for that long. Okay. And look, you just find probably where they start to fade out there. Just drop it back a bit. Press X. Go into text animation. Again, it's an aesthetic thing. For something like this, I'll generally just do a fade in. So that's beginning animation, fade in, ending animation, fade out. Okay. actually, ending animation I'm going to leave for now. I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, actually I'll do that for the start as well, apologies, and I'll show you why. It's a pain. Okay, okay, so now I want to add the text to the next one. If you have it faded, it's really difficult to find where it starts, the text starts, the first text. It just doesn't really demonstrate it very well where to start the next one. If you just have it popping up, it's much easier to find the start, so they come in at the same time rather than having to go back and forth and changing the text duration and stuff like that. So again, going frame by frame, there we see it pop up there. So once it pops up, I just push X again to add, and it automatically goes back to adding our text. You can pick this exact same text. Call this one obviously lap 2. Duration we'll fix in a minute. Transform. Okay, because I changed the size of that before, like normally if you just pick the same text, it'll be the same size. But because I was playing with it like that, what I tend to do, if you get it the same, just put it over the top and just adjust it until it's the same size. Close enough is good enough. And move it straight across to where you want it. Line it up. Once you're happy, press X. Okay, now you can do, well, let's go text duration. Punch it out to the end, and you can see exactly when the other one disappears. Just come forward. This way it all happens at the same time and it just looks a bit better. So now you can go text animation, beginning, fade in, ending, fade out. What was that on? Lap 1. That was lap 2, yep. Square, so pick the other one. You can see, even though you can't see it there because it's fading in, the red box around it, and it's got the angled bit down the bottom. Okay, go to lap 1, square, text animation, yeah, ending, fade out, beginning, fade in. Again, close enough, good enough. Show the end, scroll through. So you can do stuff like add overlay. Again, there are massive limitations with this sort of thing. If you want to be able to pause it and discuss it or make it a bit clearer, you're going to have to go into the original video in your capture gallery, go to that point, watch it, pause it, screen cap it, and then add that screenshot. So yeah, really, really difficult. But look, you can sort of play around with this sort of stuff. You know, if you want to, write something about your breaking points or something, you stick your arrow and look out for this break marker, break zone, you name it. Clear of this curb, whatever. The only problem is when you put a thing there, it doesn't stay with the image. Obviously, it's static. As an example, sort of like it's just static, so you've got to be careful how you use it. Again, the best way to do it is to freeze frame it. The only way to do that is as I described. I'll add a sticker. These are all imported images. Most important one to have there. So you can stick that up there so everyone knows who made it, eh? So all in all, that took 47 minutes. There was a bit of stuffing around. I'll edit all this down now to make it something a bit easier to watch. but yeah, look, I think once you get it down pat, you'll be able to crack out a single lap comparison in less than 30 minutes easily, especially once you've got your template down that you want, and you start to get used to the buttons. Probably do it a lot quicker than that actually. 20 minutes. Got any further questions, or you want any other tutorials? Please hit us up. Cheers.